What's happening, everyone? JayShockblast here, and check it out. In this video, we are going to look at the Justice Syndicate, or as they are known also in Earth-3, the Crime Syndicate. And if you haven't followed the game, LEGO DC Supervillains follows the story of a fake Justice League being fake news coming over from Earth-3 and taking over for the Justice League and sending them bye-bye. So these are our two kind of main people. We have Ultraman, which is the Earth-3 version of Superman, and then we have Superwoman, which is the Earth-3 version of Wonder Woman. So there are 9 members of the Crime Syndicate that came over to Earth Prime, I guess is what we call it in DC, and they became the Justice Syndicate here, and they're, acting as if they're good people and taking over for the Justice League, but they have sinister plans instead. And they're here to commit crime and take over the world. And I don't want to give away the whole story, but it kind of follows in loosely the story of Forever Evil that recently came out in the last couple of years in DC Comics. That's where we get the Lex Luthor Superman suit and stuff like that. And there was also an animated movie that they did, Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, where we actually saw that version of the Crime Syndicate also try to take over, and well, not really take over. The Lex Luthor from their Earth popped over, and I don't know. It was actually pretty interesting. Interesting to watch kind of all the different versions. In that version, the Crime Syndicate kind of ran as if they were like the Mafia, basically. They had 6 bosses, Ultraman, Owlman, Superwoman, Johnny Quick, Power Ring, and Jed Jarkus, who was the Martian over there. And they all had their own different, mashup characters that were different versions, like Lobo was Warwolf, and I'm kind of blanking now. There was a bunch of them. Black Power was Black Lightning, and Superman's henchman guy was Mr. Action, which was Jimmy Olsen, but he was like super buff. So it was pretty interesting, actually. I actually enjoyed that movie. If you have DC Universe, their monthly subscription service, it's actually on there if you want to watch it. So I think so far DC Universe has been worth it. But anyway, you guys are here to see these guys. So obviously Ultraman, it's Superman with a darker shade of blue and a U on his shield. And he says pretty funny things as you kind of walk around. I think it's the same voice actor as Superman. Man of Steel, you mean man that steals. That's one of his lines when he pops in. So obviously he has powers that are similar to that of Superman. He's got the heat beams from his eyes. He's got the freeze breath. It kind of actually alternates back and forth. So, yeah, Ultraman. I mean, if you've seen Superman, you've seen Ultraman. He just says grimier things. Superwoman, basically like a mix of Wonder Woman and Superman. I mean, obviously, she doesn't dress the same as Wonder Woman, and she kind of goes by Superwoman instead of Wonder Woman, but I think their backstory is probably fairly similar. I actually think she's a little bit more boring looking than Wonder Woman. I think they could have done a better job with the way that not they being TT, I mean DC in general. But obviously that's kind of also the point. I mean, she's wearing all black because she's evil. She's, a bad person. So I think one of the ones that a lot of people are going to be the most interested in is Earth-3's version of Batman. We have Owlman, and
the darkest night.
I'm Owlman, the darkest night. So there is actually a trophy in this for pairing him with Talon, because Talon is part of the Court of Owls. Now, obviously, Owlman also comes with the advanced glide feature, and I'm not going to show it as much as I have in some of the other videos for characters that have it, but Owlman can literally glide forever. If you just basically, go through this motion of, torquing down and then jerking up, you're basically going to be able to fly forever. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's weirdly soothing. I don't know, Owlman's kind of cool. Like, I'm not like necessarily the biggest Batman fan, but I like Batman, appreciate Batman, but there's something about Owlman that's just like that much cooler. Maybe it's because his mask is like way cooler. So there's Owlman, and I guess I should show their cards. So Owlman, the Darkest Knight, Thomas Wayne Jr. I'm not going to go through everything, but member of the evil Crime Syndicate, Thomas was the older brother of Bruce on Earth-3, but his callous nature towards his family led him down a dark path, eventually taking on the persona of Owlman. He struck fear in the hearts of anyone who would dare oppose him, no matter the cost. The way he is actually shown, like, first of all, TT Games obviously toned down all of these characters in this version, because if you watch the Crisis on Two Earths, it's actually, they're quite dark. I mean, they're pretty lethal and pretty powerful. So
Things are about to get bad.
I mean, it's definitely something to consider. Here's Johnny Quick. I think Johnny Quick is probably going to be most people's favorites because he's a speedster, and speedsters in general are the favorites. I think it's very clear to me that the message that I'm getting in the comments in my videos that TT Games should hopefully take to heart is that characters that can become speedsters in these Marvel and DC games need to be a focus. Like, they have to. I do think some people have a feeling in this game like speedsters have devolved, like they've gone backwards, and I can understand why. So I would hope that TT Games can look at that and look at that feedback and understand that this is a part of the product that people love and keep trying to push it forward. You got to bring back the running on water and running up walls. Like, it's kind of like customer service in a way. Once you give a customer something, you can't take it back. So, but yeah, Johnny Quick has his moment in the game. I think he's like dating Atomica in their version because she's always like on his shoulder, and they seem like they're, I don't know, romantic, if you will. As romantic as two Lego figures can be. But yeah, he's obviously Earth-3's version of the Flash, and he's actually quite calculating in the cartoon. There's been a lot of versions of the Crime Syndicate, and you know that movie, the animated movie, is just one of them. A notorious criminal from Earth-3, Jonathan Allen found himself accidentally struck by lightning at Star Labs, which resulted in him gaining the ability of super speed. Continuing to use his powers for evil, the sinister speedster became a member of the villainous Crime Syndicate. So there you go. While we're in here, let's look at Superwoman. Lois Lane of Earth-3. There you go. The evil Amazon of the Crime Syndicate, Superwoman, is the Earth-3 counterpart of both Lois Lane and Wonder Woman, often using her lasso of submission to defeat her enemies. While she is loyal to the Syndicate, Superwoman often uses her previous alliances with Mazahs to stay out of danger. So that's interesting, because I'm pretty sure that plays out in the story in Chapter 8. Then you have Ultraman, Kal-Il, Kent Clarkson. I don't know why we didn't have a Clint Clarkson. I keep saying Clint. Figure that he could change to, because Kent Clarkson does pop up in some of this stuff. Leader of the evil Crime Syndicate, Ultraman is as ruthless as they come, and just as powerful as Superman. Unlike the heroic Man of Steel, Ultraman's abilities are actually enhanced by kryptonite, although he can still be weakened by strong sunlight. Luckily, he remembered to bring his sunscreen. So the next character we're going to look at is Power Ring. Now, obviously, he is the Green Lantern.
What? You're not talking to me now? Ugh.
He is the Green Lantern of that Earth-3. That's cool. I didn't actually see that yet. So, he's kind of portrayed as a bit of a coward in this. Like, I understand that the animated film isn't the kind of be-all, end-all, and I haven't really read much in Forever Evil, but I will say that in Forever Evil, I believe he's actually killed by Sinestro. So that's honestly, Sinestro is very underappreciated for just how powerful and ruthless he is. So it really shouldn't even be a surprise that happened in that realm. But you know, he's basically going to do all your Green Lantern things, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I get it. So I don't know why they made him like such a cowardly lion kind of character, but I don't know. It is what it is. Let's look at his character card real quick. Hal Jordan of Earth-3. The Green Lantern's cowardly Earth-3 counterpart, this version of Hal Jordan was sensed by the evil Ring of Volthoom due to his high level of fear. Attaching itself to his hand, Volthoom now forces this weak-willed wrongdoer into obeying its commands, together going by the name of Power Ring. I mean, that makes sense. I actually can buy that. So one of our other members of the Crime Syndicate is the counterpart of Aquaman, Sea King.
When it comes to winning, there's no death I won't sink.
He kind of looks like the 90s Aquaman. And he also has the glide ability, just like Aquaman and Aqualad, where he can use his kind of water. I really kind of found his level to be very funny. It's the 9th level of the game. You basically have a boss battle where you fight Sea King as Black Manta and King Shark. And I thought that was just honestly like a trip. I think that was one of the best parts about the game, is having these boss battles where you're fighting what could be iconic level characters. Of course, you didn't fight Aquaman, you fought Sea King, but you're basically fighting him with two of their strongest enemies, you know, King Shark and especially Black Manta. And I liked his level also because, like, I don't know, man, everybody loves talking like a pirate, right? You know, like, and that's exactly how they made him. And he's got the hook for a hand, or whatever you want to call that. I don't know if that like shoots anything. No, it would be cool if it did. But I think Sea King might honestly be my favorite of the Crime Syndicate. So I think it's actually really cool. So let's look at. The funny thing is, he actually is perceived to be dead when they cross over from Earth-3 in the comic. So little is actually known about Sea King, the ocean-based member of the evil Crime Syndicate from Earth-3. However, given that his powers seem to be just as strong on Earth-1, counterpart the King of Atlantis, Aquaman, anyone who dares face him is guaranteed to be in deep trouble. Arr. So he's actually a newer variant of the character. He wasn't part of the original Crime Syndicate back in the 60s. So there you go. Owlman. I love Owlman. He's actually really cool. I'm not actually trying to beat him. So there's Owlman again, because we all love Batman-related characters. But next up, we are actually going to look at Grid. And Grid is basically Earth-3 Cyborg. I don't think does he actually grow, though? He does not grow. He doesn't turn into a... Oh, I saw the sniper. Oh well. He does fly, though. Now, for those of you that played Injustice 2, Grid is actually available as a skin for Cyborg. And I don't remember... I think you got it for, like, signing up for something. It was, like, one of those little bonuses. It was, like, a free skin you could get. And if you went on their website and, like, linked up or something. Or I think, actually, it was, like, if you linked up with the web... the Injustice 2 mobile game, you actually got Grid. So I loved Injustice 2. I'm not really into fighting games, but like I really loved Injustice 2, and it kind of forced me to try to be into fighting games. I'll do anything that has comic books. So, but Grid looks awesome. Like he's got this like skeletal look to him. I think it was actually a virus that took over a cyborg's body. A rogue artificial intelligence that grew within the body of Cyborg, the entity known as Grid, amassed information on superheroes until turning evil and managed to break free. Cold and emotionless, this mechanical menace is now a member of the Crime Syndicate. Have a nice day. So, there you go. Speaking of Atomica, here she is.
Bad things come in small packages.
And she's basically the Atom, except she doesn't grow. I don't have anything to really lock onto right now. So, Thor making an appearance here. But yeah, it's pretty much all she does. She shrinks, she grows, and she shows up in some cutscenes. So let's go ahead and check out her card real quick. You've got, originally hailing from Earth-3, Rhonda Pineda was partners in crime with her boyfriend Jonathan Allen, Johnny Quick. After the pair were accidentally exposed to lightning strike near Star Labs, they gained superpowers, giving Rhonda the ability to shrink. So yeah, there's Atomica for you. And the last character of the Crime Syndicate is Deathstorm. Now, obviously, Deathstorm is their version of Firestorm, and he looks awesome. Not the only version of Deathstorm. When I did my top 10 characters I wanted to see in the game, Deathstorm was one of them, but I wanted the Blackest Night version of Deathstorm, which is basically the dead Ronnie Raymond and coming back to life. That version of Deathstorm is so cool. And this one's not bad either. He's kind of in a lot of the game, and you actually have a boss battle against him at one point. So it's kind of funny how that worked out, but it's definitely a cool character to bank on because he looks so awesome. So let's actually look at Firestorm's. I mean, he does all the things you would expect. Oh, he actually bamfs. I'll never call this teleport. It's always going to be bamfing. So let's look at his character card. Deathstorm. Earth-3's version of Professor Martenstein had a less than ethical approach to his biological research experiments, often luring unsuspecting people into being his test subjects. After successfully turning himself into the powerful Deathstorm, Stein joined the evil Crime Syndicate. So, character debut, Brightest Day, number 7, 2010. I think that's the version I was talking about. So that is the 9 characters: Ultraman, Superwoman, Owlman, Johnny Quick, Grid, Atomica, Sea King, Deathstorm, and Power Ring. Those are the 9 Crime Syndicate characters in the game. There is one other Earth-3 character that does come into the game, and it is Mazahs, which is basically Shazam.
I was too strong for them to ever defeat.
And I love this actually. I actually really like this version of the character. When I do my top 10 characters in the game list, he might make it. And I think most of it is just because, like, the chess piece, I ended up using that as my chess piece on my own personal created character. But this is honestly the game level 8 where you actually unlock Black Adam and you recruit Shazam into your roster. That part was really cool, seeing Mazahs and Shazam together. And look at that, like, his suit is just sick. But he's not a bad guy. He's actually one of the good guys. And Superwoman, like the character card said, has like some kind of a romantic link with him. And there you go. Alexander Luthor. Obsessed with ridding his world of all crime, the Lex Luthor of Earth-3 developed a way of acquiring superpowers from his fallen foes. After defeating Will Batson, Luthor became Mazahs, Earth-3's most powerful hero. However, his warped mind has made him more dangerous than any villain. So there you go. Pretty cool. So there you go, guys. Those are our Earth-3 characters of the Crime Syndicate, plus the bonus of Mazahs. I hope you guys enjoyed. What do you guys think of these characters? Who's your favorite?